Welcome alone.
Toda rabba Shimrit, Daryl, kol hakavod, and give it up for Adam Lapid, with our troubadour, our own protest singer, right on. Friends, you know, I grew up in North Carolina, and as a child growing up, sometimes I had this sinking feeling that I might have missed the boat. That perhaps all the glory went to my parents' generation, maybe their parents' generation, the Palmachnikim, who had that unique historic opportunity to change the face of Jewish history. But as of late, I realize how wrong I was. Because I know now that we are the blessed generation that will determine whether our Jewish state will remain a Jewish and democratic state for all its citizens or not. That's up to us. And we're making that decision right now, right here. Now, of course, there are significant reasons to be concerned. Israel, a country with chronic security problems, needs a Supreme Court to keep us our better selves, to make sure that not only we don't violate the human rights of our enemies, but we allow ourselves to be the kind of Jewish state, that light to the nations that we know that we can be, that we know we must be. And we know, I can tell you as somebody who's worked for the environment for 30 years, that we need a strong, independent judiciary and a strong democracy to protect Israel's environment, without which countless number of invaluable, lovely locations would be destroyed. Our legislation would never make it to the point we are today. We need democracy for that as well. But I come here today actually quite hopeful. And I'm going to give you 4 reasons why I think we are winning this battle. Now, I'm not suggesting anybody get complacent and we all have to come next week as well. But let's start with the fact that a younger generation has stepped up and saw the danger and doubled down on Israeli democracy. And I see my daughter and her friends building campfires in the streets of Jerusalem, and hundreds of thousands, yea, millions of Israelis coming out week after week. I know that nothing can defeat that spirit. The second reason why I am so optimistic is, for the first time, I think that Israel, the majority of Israelis, are starting to ask the fundamental questions that we should have asked long ago, perhaps when we sort of punted on the issue of a constitution. And I can tell you, as somebody who knows, at least from the coalition side, pretty much all the people negotiating at the president's house, that these are some of the smartest, most ethical and practical people that I know. And I trust them to do the right thing, to stand up for everything that we believe in. Now, I wrote an article for Yisrael Hayom, a right-wing newspaper in Israel, an op-ed a few weeks ago, and I suggested there that a strategy in trying to move forward would be to learn from the great legal philosopher John Rawls and his theory of justice. John Rawls suggested that when people want to think about justice, they need to adopt a veil of ignorance. A veil of ignorance that says, I don't know who I was born or who I might be born as, but my decision is going to be colorblind without knowing that. And that's what we need to do as we go forward, because we can't just say what we don't want. We have to start defining what we do want. And we want to live in a country that offers equal opportunity to everybody, that ensures our rights, human rights, that makes sure that our children and grandchildren enjoy the robust Israeli institutions, the democratic institutions that we do. The third reason I'm optimistic is that I am a social scientist, I guess. I'm a professor of public policy. And I know how hard it is to change people's minds, especially when we're talking about core values. Have you guys seen the polls lately in Israel? We are witnessing, for the first time in 5 years, a tectonic change. When the Likud has lost more than a third of its voters who don't want any part of this ill-advised so-called reform, we can say, thank heavens, Israelis from all tribes are nimble, open-minded, open-hearted, and care about the future. That doesn't happen every day. I've waited 5 elections to see that shift. We're always there's one seat here, one seat there, and now we have something very fundamentally different. It offers us a better future, a future to do this together. And the fourth, and maybe the most important reason, is what I'm looking at right now. Have you seen how the last several months have brought together Jews, whether they be Israeli-born, American-born, European-born, together. Because it's the only Jewish homeland that we have. And we're here together to send a very clear message. And believe me, it resonates. I can promise you it'll resonate on the Blue and White Facebook page tomorrow. But we're saying that we only have one land of Israel. Maybe if Herzl had been more successful to Zionist Congress with Uganda, we might have a choice. We have no choice. It's the only one we have. And we aren't going to give it up now or ever as a democratic country for the future. My friends, I want to wrap up just by saying that Israel's future and the challenges to democracy is far, far too serious to leave this issue as a spectator sport. We need players, and by being here, you are players. Keep playing, come back, kol hakavod to unacceptable, and let's save our wonderful and democratic Jewish state.
Thank you, Alon.